Kozhikode is known for its renowned and prominent authors. And as you said, the annual literature fest, such as the KLF, also takes place in the city of literature. Sir, as a lover of books, do you have any initiatives that will contribute to the strengthening of our literature heritage?
I think I've talked a bit about this in the introduction. Personally, I don't think my initiative is necessary because there's a great deal that is already happening. It is because of such initiatives that we have been awarded this title of UNESCO City of Literature. I think I've given the answer to this in the introduction, because what has happened, it's not just about writers. As I told you, we have great writers. We have 2 Jnanpith Award winners from our own city. Kozhikode has had this a certain way in which it attracted literary talent, and this has to do with 2 things. One was AIR, Akashvani Calicut station, Kozhikode station, recruited the best kinds of minds from the 1950s and 60s. The best writers, people like Urub were working for Akashvani. The best dramatists, the best actors, all of them were working for Akashvani. The other major institution in Calicut was Madhrubhumi. Because Madhrubhumi had a kind of prestige that no other paper or magazine had, especially Madhrubhumi Azhapadipu. Any writer felt that he or she had come into her own if he or she was published in Madhrubhumi. Almost all writers talk about how they were first published in Madhrubhumi. So Madhrubhumi had this, the institution itself had in its table a lot of writers. MT, for example, was the editor of Madhrubhumi Azhapadipu. And a lot of writers were encouraged with Madhrubhumi, especially Madhrubhumi Azhapadipu. It's a central institution as far as the literary culture of Kerala is concerned. So because of these 2 institutions, Kozhikode was able to attract a great deal of writers. None of these people were born in Kozhikode. Vaikom Muhammad Bashir's name itself tells us that he came from somewhere else. On the other hand, he is called Bepur Sultan. MT, all of these people came from other places, settled in Kozhikode, and they became people of Kozhikode. So because of these institutions, Kozhikode was able to attract a great amount of literary talent, film talent again. People like John Abraham, they had a small collective. People who used to meet in Wheat House or Alagapuri or Maharani Bar and created so many of the major movements as far as the movies were concerned. So that is one way in which Kozhikode became a center, a literary center, because it was able to attract literary talent. The other is the way in which schools like this have responded to literature. There are literary competitions in all schools centered around possibly birth anniversaries, centenaries of writers here, especially, as I mentioned, Vaikom Muhammad Bashir's birth anniversaries regularly celebrated in almost every school in Calicut. There are competitions based on his works, fancy dress competitions based on his characters. So in that sense, there have been a lot of, not just initiatives, it has been part of the lived cultural life of our city. This way in which ordinary people have access to literature, great literature writers. This week, for example, you might be seeing how all the newspapers and channels are covering the major, let's say the passionate, obsessive readers and book collectors in Calicut. And all of them come from from varying backgrounds. Ordinary people who do manual labor, unskilled labor, blue-collar workers, white-collar workers. We tend to think of literature as an elite kind of activity involving writers, critics, let's say teachers. That is not where real literature functions. It's in ordinary people, and you find that if you are following the coverage of this week's festivities in the newspapers, you'll find that the most passionate, most obsessive kind of readers in Kozhikode are people from very ordinary backgrounds, not necessarily people connected with academia alone. So your question as to my initiative, I'm part of this. There have been a great amount of initiatives from the past of which I've been part, of which all of you are part. And if we can continue with that, extend the reach, then of course we can at least say that we this name of UNESCO City of Literature is something that we really deserve.
Thank you, sir.